This trailer will explore the philosophical view of death in the film Dallas Buyers Club. Heidegger states the denial of death is due to the idea that society silently orders the way in which one is supposed to behave towards death in general. Even thinking about death is regarded publicly as a cowardly fear, a sign of insecurity on the part of the individual. Society does not permit the individual to have angst about death. The cultivation of such a superior indifference estranges the individual from its own most potentiality of being. We see Heidegger's quote depicted in the beginning of the movie when main character Ron Woodruff struggles to accept his diagnosis of a fatal illness.
Mr. Woodruff, you've tested positive for HIV. Have you ever used intravenous drugs? Have you ever engaged in homosexual conduct?
Homo. You say homo? You made a mistake. That ain't me.
Mr. Woodruff, we estimate you have 30 days left.
Later, Woodruff goes on to say nothing will kill him in order to combat his insecurities about such a demasculinizing disease that will one day lead to death. After being diagnosed with HIV, the film displays Ron dealing with both inner and outer struggles. His external conflict deals with the forces of oppression and inequality in regards to treatment options for HIV patients.
How can I get some of this?
None of those drugs have been approved by the FDA.
Screw the FDA. I'm going to be DOA. I gotta sue the hospital to get my medicine?
Mr. Woodruff, I assure you that would be a waste of your precious time.
While battling his external conflict, Ron is also at odds internally, not only fighting his illness, but his longtime prejudice.
I ain't no faggot, motherfucker. I don't even know no fucking faggot.
As the film progresses, Ron acknowledges his own death, and according to Heidegger, in angst about death, the individual is brought before himself. Meaning, when one accepts their own death, it becomes the individual's priority to decide how to make their own life meaningful before they die. Once Ron fully recognizes his circumstance, he makes common cause with the people he used to hate as he partners with Rayon, a transgender also suffering from AIDS.
All right, 10.
25, take it or leave it.
Together, Ron and Rayon bring in unregulated drugs to treat those with HIV. Acknowledgement of his own death led Ron to realize there are much more important things in life than worrying about the stereotypes of people, and focuses on making the remaining months of his life meaningful by fighting for equal access to HIV medication. While speaking to a doctor that is willing to help him argue for medical equality, he says, "Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting for a life. I just don't have time to live, and I want it to mean something." As quoted in Man's Search for Meaning, Nietzsche says, "He who has a why to live for can bear with any how." Ron's why becomes the center of his life. He takes on what he believes to be an injustice and begins to run a black market for HIV medication and distributes these unregulated medications to hundreds of patients. After Woodruff is caught by authorities for distributing illegal medication, not only does he fight the hospital, but also takes the Federal Drug Administration to court. In the end, his case for the right to HIV medication is dismissed. Although he feels defeated, he walks into a room full of people who have been inspired by him.
Ladies and gentlemen.
At that point, Ron knew why his life had meaning and how his suffering was important. The last scene shows Ron riding a bull, and a caption flashes across the screen claiming a lower dose of the HIV medication Rod spent the remainder of his life fighting for became widely used in a later drug combination that saved millions of lives. Showing that even though Woodruff may have suffered in his life, we all have a larger cosmic purpose.